episode 198 of Coffee and Co-Read, your source for all things literary with Kristen
and Catherine, where we believe there's nothing better than a hot coffee and an awesome book. So join us for all of the virtual... Nope. Sorry, guys. Join us for a virtual book club where we take one book a month and dive into all of the drama, adventure, and romance we can find. Hey, Kristen.
Hi, Catherine.
It's December. Can you tell?
Yes.
Oh, God. Yeah. So, today we figured we'd talk about some Christmas movies that we enjoy, or genres of Christmas movies, or whatever you want to talk about Christmas movies. Do you like Christmas movies?
Yes. I do love a Christmas movie. I actually would have and have watched Christmas movies all year long.
Oh, yeah.
My child is actually, my youngest child has sort of the same taste as I do. And so we tend to watch a lot of our movies together. She is currently watching all of the Princess Switch movies on Netflix.
Oh, fun. Yeah, those are pretty good.
Yeah, she really likes Vanessa Hudgens, because we watched High School Musical and she really likes it, so.
True. Yeah, that's awesome. Can't blame her for that.
Yeah, so I tend to, I don't know, I feel like I do a mix of older ones and new ones. I really like watching The Grinch, the original one. Mm-hmm. How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
Yeah.
And then, Elf, obviously. Elf is a classic.
Yeah.
But, I also remember watching a bunch of the weird claymation ones when I was a kid. That, that nobody ever remembers now. There was one, and I think it was, There's No Christmas Without Santa or something like that. Okay. And anyways, there was two characters in it, and I feel like not many people remember the movie. And it had Mr. Ice and Mr. Hot or something like that. I don't actually know if those are their names. But they sing the "He's Mr. White Ice Christmas, he's Mr. Snow, he's Mr. something, he's Mr. 10 Below." And then they sing the same song for the fire guy.
Hotmeister.
Yes, yeah. Mr. Hot. And that song and those scenes sort of play on repeat in my head around Christmas time. And I have
Do you rewatch it?
No.
Oh.
I don't rewatch the movie. It's just for some reason those scenes are a core memory. And
hilarious.
In the wintertime, I'm just always playing those songs in my brain. And, I don't even know what the movie is called anymore.
Yeah.
But it was sort of in the same vein as, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Yeah, I like that one a lot. I remember that song and those characters. I'm sure we could find it.
I know we probably could. And maybe it's more popular than I think it is, but whenever I talk about it, I feel like nobody knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's one of those, it just lives rent-free in my head.
The Year Without a Santa Claus.
Oh, is that what it's called? Because I'm pretty sure also in that same movie, there's a little girl singing in front of a Christmas tree, and it's Blue Christmas by Elvis. And then she's got these big old fat tears falling down her eyes because she's missing Santa or something like that. It's pretty ridiculous, but I also really loved it.
Yeah, I've definitely seen this, but it's been ages.
And there are also the classics of Home Alone. Mm-hmm. Do you watch Die Hard at Christmas time?
I was just going to ask you if you think that Die Hard is a Christmas movie. Yeah, we generally, it depends what we're doing. Like when we've gone to Labrador, we've watched all the Die Hard movies because like
what else is there to do?
Yeah, we watch a lot of shit in Labrador. One Christmas we just watched Forged in Fire the entire time, and like now all I want to do is forge my own sword or daggers or something. Yeah. But yeah, if somebody likes a movie and likes to watch it around Christmas, I just don't know why people care so much about like, that's not a Christmas movie. It's like,
but like, I also think it's funny because people have like like kind of like I said with that, I know that movie that I talked about is a Christmas movie and it was a core memory and blah, blah, blah. But like, some people have core memories of like movies that they watched with their families when they were a kid during the holiday season, and maybe it's not a Christmas movie, but like it's still woven into the fabric of like what makes the holidays like feel good for them. So like, who the fuck cares?
Yeah, Jeff has the Three Stooges is like a Christmas thing for him because it's always on TV around Christmas, and I think that's the same with not like, I hate to mention it, but like Harry Potter marathons are on all the time around Christmas.
Yeah. And
we generally will watch Lord of the Rings over the Christmas holidays because there's time.
Yes.
Multiple days of time. Or like we'll pick either like Lord of the Rings or Star Wars and like watch multiples of them. But like they're not Christmas movies. It's just like we finally have the time to sit down and watch not 3 movies in a row extended cut because that's way too long. But apparently they're doing that in theaters now, though, for like the, I don't know, is it 25th or
That's
whatever?
a long, so what, people are going to have to spend 24 hours in a theater?
I think it's like, well, yeah, because the last movie's like 6 hours or something, the extended edition.
Yeah, yikes. Oh, another movie that I watched all the time when I was a kid. I don't even know if it counts as a movie because I think it's only a half hour. It's the Muppet Family Christmas.
Oh, yeah.
And it's fantastic. So, like, all the Muppets, like, Kermit and Fozzie and, like, Animal and, like, that whole Swedish Chef, everybody, they all go to Fozzie's mom's house for Christmas. It's like a quaint little farmhouse in the countryside, and they want a quiet Christmas. And Fozzie's mom was gonna go surfing in like Hawaii or something, and then they all show up and she's like, all right, my plans are out the door, it's fine. And like, I distinctly remember they're all in one little car and they're singing roll out the holly, da da da. I don't actually know the words. Da 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 da. And then there's an actor guy who shows up from Fraggle Rock, and he rented her house because he wanted a quiet Christmas, and she rented out her house to him because she didn't think anyone was going to be there.
Yeah.
And then she was like, oh, surprise, we're all staying, so you'll just have to stick around. And then they find an entrance to Fraggle Rock, and then the Fraggles make an appearance. Like, you know the Fraggles, right?
Yeah.
Dance your cares away. Worries for another day. Loved Fraggle Rock. Then Big Bird and Sesame Street show up, and it's like this big, huge, like, Christmas gathering of, like, all of your favorite puppets.
That's awesome.
And it's so good. And it's just like a little sing-along. They just, like, sing all these different little songs, and it's just the puppets. And it's...
What's it called again?
A Muppet Family Christmas.
Oh, okay.
It is phenomenal. Like, if you are in the generation of Muppets and Sesame Street and Fraggles, like, it is stupendous. And, like, obviously my kids don't give a shit, but, like, they'll watch it too. They'll watch it for me.
Yeah. And A Muppet Christmas Carol is classic.
Yes. Yeah, who
And
doesn't love Michael Caine giving off his best serious actor face with a whole bunch of puppets?
it's great. And of course, we do love Hallmark movies.
Yes. Yeah. Hallmark Channel, just like constantly on, is just great.
Yeah.
Although, like, I'm not loving how monetized, I guess, Hallmark Channel is getting. Like, the paid sponsorships are getting a little ridiculous. They are.
Yeah, I have to take your word for it. We don't watch the channel.
Right, yes. You just... So, like... But, like... So, for example, a couple weeks ago, I was at my mom's house, and she just had it on.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a movie on, and it was called, like, a football story.
The Bills one.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Oh.
It wasn't. Because there's two. There's a Buffalo Bills one, and there's a Kansas City Chiefs one.
Yeah, the Kansas City Chiefs one came out last year because of Taylor Swift and
Travis Kelce.
And then this year they did a Bills one because that one was so popular.
But I think that's... So, like, it's literally just paid promotion for those football teams.
Yeah.
And that bothers me.
Yeah, I guess the one thing that is kind of fun about it is, like, Jeff will sit down and watch that one with me because he'll be like, that's a football player, that's a football player, that's a football player. And he, like, knows who they are, and it's kind of funny.
I guess.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm just a little bit... Sort of reminds me of, and I'm talking about it again, I feel like I talk about it every week, those, like, movies that you get that are, like...
the reels.
The reels, the movies. So, like, I have not hidden that I've watched more of those than I probably should have. But depending on which one you get, like, I just watched one the other day, and it was essentially a promotion for, I don't even know what it was, like Lufsen or something like that. Like, there's a whole bunch of scenes. So, like, she got him as a gift. They obviously got married so that she wouldn't have to testify against him because he's a mafia king. So she was like,
okay,
because I asked you to marry me, I got you this present. And it just had the bag with, like, a bold name of the company on it. And then it had a razor in it, but it was, like, a little pocket one. And it showed, like, probably 3 or 4 different scenes of her, like, of her shaving him for him. And then there's also, like, another couple of scenes where he is using, like, one of their patented hair dryers that looks kind of like a Dyson. Like, it's just like it's just like a hollow circle cylinder thing.
Yeah.
And, like, air he's like, you're being too rough. Let me dry your hair. And then he's like, soft as a cloud. And, like, so descriptive when he's, like, using this hair dryer. And I'm like, so, obviously, this company paid for this movie.
Yeah.
And, like, it happens, like, there's so many, like, there's been other ones that I've watched, and it's essentially been, like, an ad for fucking Temu. But, like, anyway, it's just, I guess it's just the nature of the times.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. I think that's happening well, like, it happens in a lot of movies and shows where they'll just, like, have a placement of something and you're like, this is silly. Like, even in Psych and stuff, like, they have placements of stuff. But have you seen the Star Wars one? I forget what country it was in, but they just have, like, random spots in the movie where they're just advertising beer, but it's not a commercial. It's as if it's a part of the movie.
Oh, weird.
They just stuck in advertisements. It's kind of funny. I'll get Jeff to find it and send it to you because it's ridiculous.
Amazing.
But yeah. I guess that's our thoughts on movies. There's a lot of good ones. Love Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Movies are fun.
Yeah. So I guess we'll do our heads up. This is not a spoiler-free zone, and things will probably get a little saucy this week. A little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, they will. So we're reading A Court of Sugar and Spice, by Rebecca F Kenney. Last week we met our two main characters, Louisa and Clara, and they were going to stay with their godfather, and he turned out to be a fae hunter, and the Nutcracker turned out to be a fae prince, and they're like, we gotta get him home. So they found a portal to his home. They went through, got attacked by some rats.
Yeah.
And then, what happened after that? So the rats, they started walking, but then the Nutcracker, the prince still has like a curse on him, so that he's like turning back into a Nutcracker, but he needs blood. So Louisa's feeding him blood, and Clara's like, I'm gonna go down to get some water from this creek. And she basically gets attacked by a bear type rat, and then a fairy catches her and saves her life. And now they're together, and the other ones are together. But starting this week, week 2, we're doing chapters 8 to 13. We go to Louisa's point of view, and it kind of jumps back to when the Nutcracker / prince, whatever we're going to call him, because it goes between these two, is drinking her blood. So he's drinking her blood, and she's looking at him, and he's looking more fae, or like more alive, less wooden. Like his clothes isn't painted on anymore, and his eyelashes are individual because he's got some blood. And she hears Clara say that she's going to go drink water. And she's like, I should tell her to wait, but sounds like she's only going somewhere close. Yeah. This should be fine.
I could still see her. It's like, you're not even looking in her direction.
It's so dumb. So she just gets distracted by the Nutcrackers changing, and he gets taller, which is just kind of funny. And eventually she's like, okay, enough. And he immediately stops, because of course he does. And he says, let's hope we won't have to do it again. And she's like, why? Does my blood taste bad?
Someone doesn't want to survive on drinking blood, maybe?
Yeah. Yeah. So he asks where her sister is, and she's just like, oh, she went to get a drink from the pond thing over there. And he freaks out, and I'm like, oh, finally, somebody realized the gravity of this situation. Yes. But no.
Oh.
He just grabs her and puts his hand on her mouth and pulls her into his chest, and then backs into a tree. And she's struggling, but he tells her to shut up and be still, or they're both gonna die. And he like puts his hand on her throat, like stopping her from being able to talk or anything. So she nods. And then he points to the ground, and the ground is moving. And I'm like, cool.
What's there?
But what about her sister?
Now,
like, we know that she's fine because she found the other fairy guy. But, like, they're just like,
they don't know.
Exactly.
But I see the prince not caring.
Yeah, I guess.
Like, I can see that. Why would he care?
Yeah, I did think that he was going to be like, you idiot, you can't drink something here. They all have effects. Like, what are you doing? Thought it was going to be something like that. Nope. But the ground starts to, like, move, and it bulges, and it breaks open, and a wrinkled head with a snout and tusk-like teeth pops out. And he's just like, it's a mole rat. Okay? Everything in this world
is ratty.
Is rat. Rat adjacent. And it's giant, with a neck as thick as its head, and it's pale pink and thin and wrinkled. And Louisa's just like, it looks like a dick. Which is kind of funny.
She's got a one-track mind.
She 100% does. And the prince is just like, he's shocked by her saying those types of things. And he just like stiffens, and he's like, my God. And the mole rat, like, so much of it comes out of the ground that it coils like a snake. Like, this is an odd creature, but okay.
Yeah.
And it snatches a bird from the sky and just, like, devours it. And the Nutcracker tells her not to move because it can feel vibrations. So, of course, hearing that, she starts to panic about her sister, finally.
Yes.
As she should. And then she actually starts to tremble. And she thinks, like, she's exhausted because they didn't sleep the night before because she was going around checking out the Nutcracker and shit, trying to fix him after breaking him. They defied their godfather. They battled rat soldiers, and she was almost raped by one. And then she's given the prince her blood, which, like, seems like she gave him a fair amount. I'm like, you should probably be dizzy and stuff, too.
That's
and then
ridiculous.
She's like, and now she's like, she might have to watch her sister die. And she just trembles, but she's like, let me go. I need to go fight. And he's like, no, you can't do that. So she asks him to, but he doesn't have his powers and says that they'll both just be devoured. So the mole rat looks over because it can feel her shaking, and she just can't stop. So the prince picks her up bridal style, and she just, like, starts to feel angry now because she thinks that, like, she's supposed to be the strong, adventurous one, and she's panicking. And this prince is, like, the most beautiful man she's ever seen, and he's seeing her in this state. And I was like, oh, I thought it would be something about your sister dying.
No, she's embarrassed that he is seeing her trembling.
Priorities,
Ugh.
obviously.
I hate it.
Yeah. So the prince can clearly sense her distress. I'm like, I don't think it's sensing. I think he can fucking feel you trembling. And sees that she's about to either say something or scream or do something, and muffles the sound from her mouth with his mouth.
Of course. How else are you gonna do it?
He's using both his hands to hold her, so can't use anything else. And she just, like, starts kissing him. And he tastes like her blood and, like, a woodsy taste, like oak or cedar. I'm like, of course he does. And the kiss is amazing, and it's melting her fear. And then he pulls away, but then he comes back and kisses her again with an urgency that, of course, makes her wet.
Of course it does.
And she thinks here, which is funny because later she kind of has a meltdown, but she thinks here that he's just doing this to keep her calm, but she wants more.
Yeah, it's weird. She knows for a fact, like, even though whatever he's doing is working for her, I don't know if it's maybe she doesn't feel like he's into it.
Yeah, but later she's like, it's interesting that she's like, he's doing this to keep her calm. That's the only reason. And then later she's like, I can't believe you said it meant nothing. Like, yeah. It's like this moment she's like realizing, oh, he's trying to keep me calm. But then she ignores that. And I don't think she's wrong, because again, they stop kissing and then he kisses her again. And it's like, this is the third time he's kissed her. She hasn't gone after him. He's gone back to her gone back twice, started it. And she, I guess they're kissing for a while, right? And she thinks about her sister again being in danger. And then we just jump over to her not trembling anymore, still kissing him, and she thinks that she's so soaked she would just let him fuck her right here. And I'm like, okay, just jump off your sister, I guess. Didn't mean that sexually. So he stops, and they can hear wings, and Louisa sees a pink-haired fairy carrying a half-naked Clara, and the mole rat whips forward and towards them, and the fairy flies back, but the mole rat, it's like, it's a thing. I should be able to say it, but I cannot. The mole rat grabs the fairy's leg, And the prince drops Louisa down, and they run out to help, and they start, like, hacking at the mole rat's body, and it starts oozing out, one assumes, blood. But part of its body stretches to protect its head and neck. And she's just like, see, I was right. It is just an oversized cock.
I mean, yeah, it sounds like it.
Like, it does. And the prince just calls her disgusting. And I'm like, but she's right. Like...
But I guess, like, he seems like a bit of a prude. So
he does,
it's like he thinks it's crude for her to talk like that.
Oh, for sure. But it's like, you're in fairy. It seems like everybody talks like this. So, yeah, he calls her disgusting, and she says that's not what he thought a few minutes ago, but he denies it and says that he was trying to distract her. Which I'm like, yeah, that's what you assumed. Mm-hmm. Why are you changing your mind now? And he said that he just didn't want them to die, and it was dull but effective. And they see the mole rat basically lets go of the fairy, and he drops Clara into some bushes and then sprinkles rainbow flakes on the mole rat. And it shudders and goes still, and then the fairy gets 2 knives from his boots and cuts off the mole rat's head.
Yikes.
So, yay. And then Louisa just turns on the prince and is like, a dull task? I'm like, you realized a minute ago that it was just, what? I know I keep harping on this, but she literally had that thought.
Yeah, I will say I found those few chapters a bit of a slog. I don't know why, but those couple, chapter 8, 9, 10, I think, like, I was just like, oh, come on, let's keep it moving, please.
Yeah, I just, like, I guess we don't want 2 insta-couples.
I guess.
I don't know why, but we want some, like, enemies to lovers, even though they're not even enemies. But that's kind of the new part of the trope. Like, I find a lot of books that are like, it's an enemies to lover. It's like, is it?
Yeah.
Where's the enemies?
Reluctant allies to lovers.
Yeah. Yeah. Which, like, is its own thing and is fine. But it's not enemies.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he just says that mortal women are foolishly susceptible to a little oral stimulation. And obviously the fairy has come down now and is just like, what have you guys been up to? Sounds like some fun. Because he's more like Louisa.
Yeah.
The prince just says they've been not dying and nothing more. And Clara comes over and hugs Louisa and says that she almost died. And Louisa says them too. And then asks who the fairy is. And Clara says that he's an asshole. And Louisa says maybe all fae males are. Which is just kind of funny. The fairy says that he thought that the prince was dead. And the prince asks how he found her, and the fairy says that she found him. And Clara's surprised that they know each other, and I'm like, obviously, this is the cousin.
Yeah.
We all know that. And he's the cousin. And Clara's like, you're supposed to be a warrior? And he's just like, you doubt it? And Louise is just like, yeah, you're colorful and sparkly. Which...
valid.
We were talking about last week.
Which I'm not a fan of. I'm sorry. And, like, I know that's stereotypical of me. I know that sort of sucks for me. It's not kind. But it's not what I'm into.
Yeah, that's fair. So the fairy says that the prince has enough grim for the both of them. And that the prince's dad actually banished the fairy from the court. And the prince says it was because he was consorting with unseelie fae. And the fairy says that he chooses to have all kinds of friends and lovers and asks if that makes him untrustworthy. And the prince says that he didn't agree with his father's ruling. And the fairy's like, yeah, but you didn't help me. And now I'm sure you're here asking for my help. And I thought that this was going to be more of an issue.
Nah.
But the prince, I guess he does make a good point. Because the prince says it's not for his sake, but for the sake of the kingdom. And the gentle fae who will suffer at the hands of the Rat King's court. Because they're thirsty for pain and lustful beasts who like to hear victims scream before death.
Yikes.
And the fairy's like, yeah, that's fair. I don't want that either. So the prince says that he needs help to get to the unending pool, which is obviously, we already know, is his task. But I forgot to mention it in my recap. So the fairy then says that Clara told him that the prince was drinking mortal blood and how unseelie that is of him.
Yikes.
And the prince just says, desperate times call for desperate measures. And that kind of just makes Louisa laugh. And I think it's laughing in like a hurt kind of way. And Clara just looks at her confused because obviously she has no idea what's going on between them right now. And then the prince just says that with the curse gone, he will easily remove the Rat King. And I'm like, is that what's going to happen? Like, the last, like, is the whole book going to be them getting to the unending pool and then he's just going to be able to immediately do it once his curse is gone?
Pretty sure this is a 3-book series, isn't it?
I thought that the other books were different people, but I don't know. Interesting.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, we talked about that during the first week.
Yeah, but I'm not sure if it is or not. I guess we'll see. Maybe we won't get a free court, whatever. And the prince says that if the fairy wants to keep living like he does with freedom to engage in debauchery, he should help.
Yikes.
So the fairy says that they'll need more people to help, but they need to go home first because it's going to be dark and cold soon. And tomorrow they'll try to gather allies and Clara will complete her bargain for him. And the prince is just like, what the fuck bargain did you make? He doesn't say it like that, but I would.
Well, you should know better than to make a bargain with a fairy.
100%. Although I don't think it doesn't seem to go too badly for him.
No.
So the fairy just says it's nothing salacious, just painting something for him. Like, and I thought it would have more to it, but it literally is just painting something for him. Anyway, so we go to Clara's point of view now, and Louisa says that she likes the fairy, and Clara says that Louisa likes everyone too quickly, but she says not the Nutcracker.
Yikes.
So
you don't like him, but you think he's hot as shit.
Yeah. So Clara's just like, did something happen? But Louisa just says no. And before she can push some more, her stomach growls, and the fairy offers her himself, but says that she'll probably prefer this fruit, and throws both of them a sugar plum. So they try it, and Louisa says that she's never had anything so delicious. And the fairy says that there are far more delicious things in this realm. And, like, he's super suggestive.
Yeah.
And
sexy times.
Yeah. The prince then tells them that the fairy used to eat so many of them that he got the nickname Sugarplum. And he says that the prince got the name stuck, but when he was older, the name took on a different meaning, and then he winks at Clara. And I'm just like, okay. So we're getting, he's the Sugarplum Fairy. At this point, Clara remembers old tales and asks what the fruit will do to her.
Yeah, because you
like,
never ask. You never take food from a fairy. You'll be stuck in the fairy realm.
But also, she was just going to drink the fucking water.
Oh, did she not get to?
She did. No, she did. I mean, she did drink the water.
Well, so it's too late for her anyway.
Yeah. But, like, she didn't even think of that before she was drinking. Like, I'm just... If you're going to remember them before you actually eat or drink something.
Good
but
point.
Anyway. Too late for that. So the Sugarplum Fairy says not much. It'll just ease her hunger and make her happier. Kind of like a glass of wine. So she's like, cool. Can I have another one? Which is kind of funny.
Why not?
Yeah. So the fairy stops in front of her with another, and she thinks he smells like peppermint, chocolate, and snowfall. I'm like, of course he does, because men smell like
that.
things.
Sure.
My
whatever
God.
whatever you say. It's not a man I've ever smelled, but who knows?
No.
Maybe they could be out there.
Yeah. If no. Anyway, so he gives her another sugar plum, and this time it tastes different, but it's still delicious. And he says that he wants to tell her a secret then. And she's like, fine. And he says that he has the same qualities as a sugar plum.
Oh.
Because his cum tastes different each time he has sex.
Yikes.
Or not has sex, I guess, each time he comes.
Yikes.
Yeah. Which is just kind of funny. It's like that's why he's called the Sugarplum Fairy now. Because he's like them. He tastes different every time. So, of course, that turns her on.
It does?
And, yeah. And he tells her that all fae taste divine, but he's unique in this way. And she tries not to think of him naked and coming on her tongue, but she can't stop herself. Like, obviously, because that's what I just read. So you obviously thought of it. So I guess to change the subject, she asks why her godfather hates fae so much.
What a mood killer.
Yeah, really though. So he just says that some fae are worth hating, but he doesn't know her godfather's specific reasons. She'd have to ask him. And she just says that she'll likely never get the chance because they're stuck here now. But he says not forever. And he says there are other ways back. So she won't need to stay here forever unless she wants to.
I think she's going to want to.
I think she's going to want to too. And he says that humans here age slower than they do in the mortal world, but they do die easier because mortals are so... Oh, fuck, what's the word? Not gentle. Delicate? Not really delicate. Fragile.
Yeah, there we go.
Fragile. I did it.
You got it. I wouldn't have ever got that word.
It's okay. I didn't... There could have been other words that would have fit. So they get to his house, and he just throws in that it used to belong to the Abertac. And I was like...
What the fuck is an Abertac?
Is this a thing? And I looked it up, and it's like an Irish monster. Like, mythological. My God, words. And... it's kind of known in some spaces as, like, the first kind of vampire. So, drinks your blood. And I was like, is this going to ever come up again? Or is this just a throwaway? And why?
Oh.
But where did we say this? Was it in Ireland? I don't think so. Where did we say they wanted to end up? Scotland? Sweden?
Oh, they wanted, I think, Switzerland or something, isn't it?
Switzerland. Maybe. I believe it started with an S. I can't remember at all. So yeah, maybe Fae World is in Ireland. So this Abertac, instead of craving the blood of humans, craved the blood of Fae and would deal, quote unquote, in banned items. And he'd make deals with Seelie and unseelie Fae to give them whatever they're looking for, but instead of actually going through with it, he'd drain them. Louise is just like, I'm sure we won't have nightmares because of that.
Yeah.
And Clara just kind of thinks like she's acting a bit odd. Which is fair, because she is.
I mean, they haven't even had time to process
anything.
Like, Fae aren't real. Actually, they are. Alternate dimensions aren't real. Wait, yes they are. Like, there's just so much that they need to process that they have not, that I'm sort of surprised they have not.
They're not weirder.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. So Clara takes a last look outside, and she thinks how beautiful it is here, and how the mortal world won't compare if she goes back. And I'm just like, this is just another sign of, like, I don't think she's going to go back to the mortal world. I think she's going to stay in fairy.
Oh. Yeah. I would agree with that statement.
Yeah, there's just, especially in this, like, one short section, there's just, like, multiple comments about, like, it. So, yeah. The Sugarplum Fairy just tells her that she really is an artist. He can tell by how she's devouring the scene in front of her. And then he says that he can tell someone made her feel shame over her needs. And he says both her artistic and primal needs. And he asks if it was her godfather. And she's like, no, we spent less than 2 days there, which is just kind of funny.
Yeah, it's like, he wasn't that bad.
He had no impact on me. We were there for less than 2 days. So he's like, oh, was it apparent? And she basically says that, yeah, her father is a piece of shit. Which we kind of got before.
Yeah.
But she says that her sister is much more open than she is anyway, even though they both grew up the same. And the Sugarplum Fairy says that she was doing something naughty with the prince before they showed up. And Clara says she wouldn't be surprised. And he says that, like, she's obviously the experienced one, but he thinks that Clara is a secret freak. And he can still smell it on her, the sweetness between her legs.
Yikes.
Because, of course, he's a fairy. He can smell when she's turned on.
But, like, it just is giving credence to that whole, like, oh, it's the quiet ones you gotta watch out for.
It is, yeah.
And I don't know how I feel about it.
Yeah, but everyone's different. This is the same as, like, the twin scenario where there's always an evil twin.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's a different, but it's like there's one good, one bad. It's kind of similar. Like, they're not twins, but they're sisters. Yeah. One follows the rules. Clara thinks then that Louisa used to sneak out and have her fun, and she would go into the closet and get off 3 or 4 times in a row before she was sated. And she thinks, like, she'd go in the closet because her father didn't allow them to lock their bedroom door, which is, I don't know. I'm like, it's kind of common in the human world, too, that we don't really have locks on our doors, but bedrooms of children. But I'm also like, in the closet? Wouldn't you hear him walking towards the door?
Yes.
I don't know.
You would think.
Yeah. Anyway, and she also thinks that her dark fantasies were too shocking for even, like, so she wouldn't even tell her sister. I'm like, okay, so we don't know what they are, but she has dark fantasies. And then he almost kisses her, but Louisa asks if she's coming in. So he moves out of the way, and they go into the house. And the house is, like, lit with magic floating balls, and the ceiling has a bunch of runes on it, and there's a living room with, like, shelves full of glass jars that have different spells on them. And Louisa's impressed by it all, and the prince says that the Sugarplum Fairy peddles spells, and some of them are illegal. And the fairy just says that, like, there's nothing illegal in fairy world. I'm like, okay.
Isn't there?
Why do they have two different things, though?
Why do they have a ruler, then? What does he enforce if there are no laws to break?
I'm like, that can't be true.
Then it would just be a free-for-all.
Yeah. So the Sugarplum Fairy just tells them that they can go ahead and look at everything. It's all labeled. And they see that it's a bunch of spells. And there's a mimicry spell that if you put in your mouth while you look in someone's eyes, you'll look like them. And the spell is immune to glamour detection. And I'm like, they brought this up and explained it so well, it's gotta come
I know,
up
that's what I'm
later.
thinking of. I'm like, are we gonna need this in a little bit?
At some point in this book, it's gonna come up. And I'm like, is someone gonna have sex with himself? Because that is funny.
That would... Listen, I wouldn't put it past the Sugarplum Fairy from already doing that.
Oh, we probably already did. And then there's beauty spells and sound suppression spells and tidying spells, lightning storm spells, deflection spells, healing spells, enhanced pleasure spells.
Oh, they gotta throw that in there.
Yeah. And Louisa's like, can I have a few? But he says that they're too unpredictable on mortals, so she's upset.
No. So, no, you cannot.
Yeah. And he tells her that he can't bear when pretty women look sad and kisses Louisa's hand. And Louisa just thinks that she doesn't care, which is obviously a lie to herself, that Louisa has charmed both the Fae males because she's used to it. So she's obviously feeling jealous. And then the Sugarplum Fairy asks who wants to help in the pantry. And Clara wants to, but Louisa is like already going with him. So she's like, fine. So the Nutcracker sits down and she asks what happened with Clara. No, with Louisa. And he says that Louisa was panicking, so he kissed her. And Clara's like, is that all? And he's like, yeah, why do you care? And then she just shrugs and sits down. And I'm like, she obviously cares because it's her sister. What do you mean, why does she care? Yeah. Like,
well, I guess, do they not have the same sort of familial
bonds? Maybe.
Because, like, they are cousins, but, like, I don't know.
Yeah, they've got some issues. But still, like, you're gonna care about the one person you know that came into this other world with you. Even if they hated each other, they'd be bonded by coming here together. It's just weird. Mm-hmm. So they just sit there and wait. And Louisa and the fairy are gone for quite a while, but eventually they come back with loads of food and wine. And they all eat, except for the prince, who just drinks a bit of wine. And Clara's like, I wonder if that's because of his curse. And I'm like, yeah, is his stomach solid? Can he eat anything?
Yeah, I mean, who knows? Is it just wooden?
Yeah, exactly. Clara is like drifting off in the chair after they finish eating, while Louisa and the Sugarplum Fairy are like sharing desserts and trying them and laughing them. And the prince is just sitting there like glowering at the both of them.
Almost like he's jealous.
Almost. So then she must fall asleep because later the fairy wakes her up by pushing back her hair and calling her lovely and says that her sister is done in the bath so that she can take a bath now. And she just looks down at herself and she realizes that a full nipple is just like out of her dress.
Yeah, he's just got a boob out.
Yeah. And then she thinks, but he didn't touch her or mention it. I'm like, yeah, because it's still your body. Like, it's not an amazing thing not to be touched by a man when you're, like, half naked because you fell asleep. Like, that's just the bare minimum.
But remember, too, like, from the first week when she's like, oh my god, I hate when society, like, when men leer at me or, like, when they think that they're entitled to look at my body when they're not and, like, blah, blah, blah. So, like, she definitely has those thoughts.
Yeah. And I guess the other thing, too, is, like, that rat was going to rape Louisa. Yeah. And then it seemed like the bear rat was going to rape Clara. Because I think they all do that, is what we're getting. So, anyway, she just fixes her clothes and she goes to the bath. And we go to Louisa's point of view. And she passes Clara and the Sugarplum Fairy in the hallway after her bath, and she tells Clara that the water is magical, and it healed her bruises and cuts, and her ribs. And the fairy's just like, you're welcome. So, like, Clara's pretty pumped about that, obviously, because she was in pain. So, she's in a towel, and she knows that the Sugarplum Fairy, like, set out a room for them with some nightgowns, and she opens a door, but she's in the prince's room. And she thinks she's pissed that he picked her up like she was lighter than a feather when she's not, and he kissed her into a glorious sexual haze and then pretended to feel nothing. Okay. So she gets his attention, and then she's just like, you called it a dull task. And he tells her to let it go.
Yeah.
And she just says that he called her licentious, I think is the word. Not gonna lie, I had to look up a few words in this book. And he says she is, and she says that she likes sex and has had lovers, but so do Faye. And he says not him, because he's only slept with 2 women, which is interesting for a fairy. She's shocked, but he says that he has to be selective in his position because he wants to be a good ruler, not a careless rake. It's just funny to call him a rake.
Well, he's obviously not. He's only had sex with 2 women.
Yeah, but it's just funny that that's the word he used.
I like that word.
Yeah. He asks what she wants, and if it's to be a hole for every male who makes her wet. And she says no, but so what if she did? At least she's admitting what she likes, unlike him. And he says he can admit what he likes, and she says, prove it and admit you enjoyed kissing me. And he just says that she imagined it, but she says that she can tell.
Oh my God.
When people enjoy kissing her.
She is being such a whiny baby.
Yeah. Because somebody's saying that they're not, like, desperately in love with her. It's a bit much. He says that she's never kissed a fey male and that he felt nothing sexual. And she's like, oh, so you can lie. Which is just kind of funny to be that self-confident, yes, or, like, that egotistical to be like, oh, I know now that you can lie because you're saying you don't find me sexually attractive. Wild. He says perhaps, but that doesn't mean he's lying now. And she's just like, but you can't have felt nothing. No one does with me. Wild.
Yeah, it's a very, like, she's got the Delulu. Like, yeah, the hardcore Delulu.
But it's stupid because she's not wrong. So she then says that she's a treat and asks if he wants to see, and then she just drops her towel.
Yeah, which this whole thing is like it's
assault. This is kind of assault on him. He didn't ask to see her naked. He's been specifically telling her no. It's actually 100% assault. Yeah.
And actually it's really funny because I saw a lot of, when I looked up this book after we said we were going to read it, and I looked stuff up, not about the book itself, like not on the plot, but like their relationship was actually cited as being a huge problem for this book in general because their relationship is so toxic. Like, yeah, apparently apparently he calls her a whore a whole lot. Like, inadvertent. Like, yeah. I don't know if it's like, if he's like straight up saying you're a whore, or if he's doing it in a sideways way, the way he did it here.
Yeah, probably. But also, she just assaulted him when he specifically doesn't want her right now. Like, if a man got naked in front of a woman, very bad. If they don't want it, you know, it's not great. So we get now, I guess, a description about her, but she's super curvy with a rounded belly and thick thighs, and he does say that she's very beautiful, but he says he never denied that. And then she's like, oh, wait, do you not have a cock because of your curse? And he's just like,
none of your beeswax.
No. Well, he says, no, I do have one, but it's not your business if it's working or not. And then he kind of says a reasonable thing right now. But he says that he's been a nutcracker for weeks. And he was captured, tortured, cursed, and shrunken to be handled by strangers while his people suffered. And now he's dealing with the curse and fighting the rat guys, and protecting 2 girls while trying to find allies. And I'm like, the girls kind of held up themselves, but whatever. And then he says, so he doesn't care about coddling her human vanity tonight. And I'm like, you don't need to lash out on that either, but, like, you do make a good point. Like, you're allowed to not want sex right now because you're dealing with some shit.
Yeah, and it's funny because I do find a lot of times in novels, we don't get that side from the male perspective very often. Like, usually it's the female that... Actually, it's not very often that in the books that we read, it's not very often that either character says no to sex.
No.
It's like, even though the day's been shit, they're like, I need my person. I need this physical connection. And it's like...
100%.
I actually do appreciate, in this instance, like, yeah, he has been through some shit. Sex is not on his mind right now.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's great. And, like, he did say that she looks beautiful. Like, I think that she should be able to, like, let this go and not assault him again. But alas, a little later this week. So, the Sugarplum Fairy just, like, opens the door and asks if everything's okay. And then he's just like...
naked.
Yeah. He's like, oh, what a fine view. And then he just says, best wishes, and leaves. So the prince says that she should go wet his prick again. And we're like, oh, this is his issue. He's jealous. Okay?
Yeah.
And she's just confused. And he says that that's why they took so long getting food, because obviously they were having sex. And she's like, but we weren't. And he's like, I don't care anyway. Yeah. It's like, obviously you do.
Obviously you do.
But he tells her to leave so that he can go to sleep. And she just, like, picks up her towel and leaves. And she finds her room, which is, like, next door. And she puts on a nightgown, which is, like, super scandalous and has, like, strategically placed panels to cover certain bits.
Of course.
Of course. Faye. And she starts to wonder if she was being selfish. Yes.
Maybe a little bit.
Obviously. Like, yeah, you should maybe think of how other people are feeling. And she thinks that Clara used to say that she was selfish sometimes, but then she would also list, like, her own faults so that Louisa didn't feel bad. And Louisa thinks that, like, she's only been focusing on what things mean for her. Like, freeing the Nutcracker, she wasn't worried about him in those situations. She was thinking about what that meant for her, which was adventure. And then she was focused on keeping her and Clara, I'm like, really? Were you? Alive. And she thinks, like, she's not responsible for how the prince feels, but she could be more considerate and show the asshole some human decency. And I'm like, yes, amazing.
Yeah, don't show him your naked body when he doesn't want to see it.
Yeah. Think about how he's feeling before you're like, but I want to have sex. He literally could turn into a nutcracker while you're having sex. Like,
God.
Is that going to happen? Because hilarious.
Oh my God, can you imagine if she was on her period when they were having sex and then he wouldn't turn into a nutcracker?
Oh my God. It'd be perfect for him. That is so smart.
I'm telling you.
Such a big brain moment. So yeah, we go to Clara's point of view now. And she actually uses the bathroom, which is fun. Love to see it in a book.
I know, they never do.
Yeah, I do kind of like it. I like when it just comes up. Like, cool. Then she just strips off her clothes, and she's by the tub, and the Sugarplum Fairy just comes back in. And she's like, what the heck? And he's like, I told you I was going to leave to go get one of these. I thought you'd wait. And she's just like, oh, I'm out of it. Sorry. But he tells her it's a healing spell. And he puts the orb in the tub and says that... And then he, like, says it might not be safe for her to bathe alone. And, of course, But it turns her on. She's turned on by him. But then she says that his nails are so sharp. And he says he can eliminate the danger for some activities. And she's just like, you should probably go. Even though she's super turned on. Fair enough.
Yeah.
And he says he won't come back in.
I find it funny that, like, it seems like in both of these relationships, the girls are, like, hard up for it. And it's the guys that have to be like, no.
Yeah. I guess maybe that's the Fae world. Like, does that affect all females that way? All mortals? I don't know. Maybe. Could be. He tells her then that he won't come back in, but if he yells out to her and she doesn't answer, he will come in, just in case she fell asleep and drowned herself. And she just says, yeah, that's fair. And then she smiles at him, and he smiles back, and his teeth are all pointy, and the smile scares her. Enough that she has to hold back a scream. So yeah, it's an odd moment, and I don't really know why it's in there, of like, why she's so terrified of him in this moment. She almost screams because of his teeth. And then she's like, is it to show the reader that he's not just cutesy?
Maybe he can be terrifying if he wants to be.
But he's not trying to be in this moment. He just smiles at her, and she's like, scared of his teeth, she almost screams.
Yeah, I don't like it.
I'm like, this is not what a healthy relationship starts with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just an odd thing to throw in there. And maybe it's just for us to be like, oh, he's not just adorable. But I was like, what? So she gets in the tub. And she's shaving her armpits when 3 skinny white shapes push the door open. And she yelps and just, like, slices her boob. And I'm like, Jesus.
God.
And then
accident prone.
Yeah. But then she drops her razor in the tub and stands up. And I'm like, you're going to cut your feet. If you stand up on a razor.
I just don't understand how, like, she goes from she's shaving her armpits. How does she then? I guess if you haul it across, I guess.
If you, went to look towards
I'll
something.
Buy it.
Everybody try it on your own. Right arm shaving your left armpit, and the door is to your right. And if you look, and yeah, I guess. So obviously she yelps, and the Sugarplum Fairy comes in to see what's going on. And he could just see that there's, like, blood running through her fingers. And she's just like, there's rats in here. White rats, but they look longer. And he says that they're weasel cats and that they're his pets. And he says that he'll shoo them out, but that she should get back in the water because it'll heal her. And she's like, oh, yeah. How did I forget that? I'm like, smart.
Yeah. It's like, how did you forget that?
So he picks up one of them and brings it over to her, and it's like super cute, and says that they're named Fira, Shay, and Chris. And then he kicks them out, and she's surprised that Fae have pets. And he says that maybe he plans to sacrifice them. And she's like, then why would you name them? And he's like, you got me there. So he asks to see what she's done. So she, like, sticks her boobs out of the water so we can see them. And it's still bleeding. And she says that she was using a razor when they scared her. And he asked why she was using a razor. And she says that it's the fashion back home, but their father didn't like it, but her and Louisa used to shave. And he just says, like, most Fae don't have hair that they need to shave. And that this is only here because a Fenadiri, which is a hairy type of Fae, stayed over for a bit. And that they like to keep certain areas shaved, but he doesn't mind either way. So, like, he's a feminist prince.
Yikes.
So then he bends over and, like, picks the razor up. And it's just, like, it's between her legs. I'm like, she could have sat on, like, aren't you? It could have cut her. Like, why doesn't she care? But anyway, he just bends over, picks it up from between her legs, and he doesn't touch her, but she gets all hot and bothered. And he just has a good look at her naked. And then he asks to touch her cut. And she knows that it's an excuse, but she allows it. And it's just all healed now. So I guess the water worked super quick. It's just a line, all healed. But he, like, touches around it and makes her horny. And then he says that he should let her dry off. And says that her room is down the hall. But she asks him to stay in case she has another accident. And he says, probably a good idea. Because he's had to save her 3 times now. If you count him feeding her sugar plums.
I don't.
I don't either, but she could have starved.
Oh.
So she smiles at him and he calls her exquisite and he helps her out of the tub and then, like, puts her in front of him to his chest so that they can both look at her in a mirror that's just there that she didn't notice. And I'm like, okay. And it kind of just explains that, like, she's thinner than her sister, it seems, and she's also beautiful, which, like, love body diversity in books.
Yes,
it's fun. And then they're looking at her and he asks if she sees how beautiful she is, and he magics one of his claws away on his hand and he's like starts squeezing her boob, and then he moves over her stomach. And part of her wants to squeeze her legs together, but she thinks the new Clara wants his touch, so she widens her stance. She's different here.
Yes.
And he touches her, and he's like, do you see how swollen and wet you are for me? And says that he's going to make her come so sweetly for him. And she just says that she thought that he wanted Louisa. And she says Louisa knows how to make love better than she does. And he tells her that she's more interesting than Louisa. And she thinks this is the first time that someone's ever said that to her. And she says that that doesn't make sense. But he hushes her and tells her to watch herself come. And then he, like, starts fingering her. And his thumb is on her clit. And he's playing with her nipple. And she can feel him hard against her. But he doesn't ask to be inside of her. And I'm like, she keeps mentioning these things like they're great of him, but it's the bare minimum. And he asks her to widen her legs and then says that he has a gift for her. And she just expects that it's going to be his dick.
I love that.
Which is just funny. Me too.
I love that.
But he actually tells her that he has a rule that if he sees someone naked twice, he tells them his true name.
What a stupid rule.
I know. I'm really glad we're getting his name because I was like, the fairy, the Sugarplum Fairy, the prince, the blah, blah, blah. I like that we're getting their names, but I do think that this is kind of silly. But he says that he does it so that he doesn't form attachments to people he doesn't trust. So if he sees you naked twice, he trusts you, I guess. And then he says that she won't scream it tonight, but hopefully sometime when he eats her out, she'll scream it. And he's just like, look how wet and flushed you are. And then says that he'll tell her his name if she comes. And then she just immediately does. And he makes her watch herself come down from it. And then he says his name is Phineas. And he wraps her in a towel. And she thinks she can't believe she just did something like that. And it's something Louisa would do. But she thinks Fairy is changing them both. Like, is it? Because your sister's trying to do this. She's just not successful. And then she thinks, like, maybe this is what she always wanted deep down. So they get to her room. And Louisa's just taking up the entire bed. And Phineas is just like, it's fine, you can stay in my bed.
Like,
so they go to his room.
Is his house not... Does his house only have 3 bedrooms?
It seems like. And his bed is big enough for 4 people. And he says that in the past, he used to entertain multiple people in his bed, but not anymore. And she thinks, like, that's what she is to him, just entertainment. And then she thinks that that's kind of a relief, since he won't be staking a fae claim on her. Which is just kind of funny when you think of the books we read, and how, like, when a fae male finds his mate, and they, like, lose their shit if anyone looks at them and all that stuff. It's just, like, kind of a funny thing to say. So he asks if he should sleep on the couch or if he can sleep in the bed with her. And she's just like, it's way big enough for both of them. So she puts on her scandalous nightgown and she just looks at him and he's like, there are two beautiful women in my house. I may as well enjoy it. And then he just says, but I won't finger fuck your sister or anything else.
Oh my God.
And he says that he thinks that she's trying to seduce his cousin anyway, even though it's not successful because they can't be alone for a second without fighting. And Clara just thinks, like, she should talk to her sister tomorrow. And they get in bed, and she asks what she should paint for him tomorrow. And he says, whatever you think I would like the most. And she falls asleep, like, as he's saying that.
Oh. So, we wake up in Louisa's point of view. The worst point of view. And she wakes up and Clara is not in bed with her. Obviously not, because she was friggin' starfishing the whole thing and taking up the entire bed.
Yeah.
And she understands that. Like, as soon as she wakes up, she's like, oh no, where's Clara? And then she's like, well, fuck, I'm across the whole bed. Anyway, so she's like, shit, where's Clara? So she goes to look for her. And she obviously finds her in the Sugarplum guy's room. And they're snuggling.
So cute.
Yeah. And then we finally learn the dynamics of, like, the sisterhood sort of a thing. So, like, Clara is technically a year older than Louisa. And normally Clara is the protective one. But Louisa thinks to herself that she is equally protective over her sister, especially when it comes to things that she has more experience in, like sex. Because I'm learning throughout this book that Louisa is essentially like, what do you call it? One of those, a nympho? Like, she's obsessed with sex.
Yeah. She seems to be.
She's like a straight up horn dog.
Yeah.
So now she's feeling protective and she's worried that, like, Sugarplum in his infinite, fairy sexual experience, he's gonna, like, take advantage of her, lead her on, and whatever. So she approaches the bed and, like, obviously Sugarplum wakes up immediately and looks at her. And Louisa just, like, threatens him and says, you better not hurt her. Like,
Yeah.
Or I'll hurt her.
Like you do.
Yeah. She's like, don't you hurt her or I'll hurt you. And she was like, what are you doing with my sister? And he's like, it's none of your business. Like, to be fair, it's none of your business. But she's like, Mah. But then, so, like, he's like, she's my only family, so, like, you better not hurt her. And he just says, I didn't do anything that she didn't want or need. But he's like, if it really means that much to you, like, we didn't have sex. And he said he won't take advantage of her unless she wants him to.
Yeah. Which, not really her business. She's trying to screw the prince hella hard.
Yes.
So aggressive, it's assault. And now she's like, hey, stay away from my sister.
So stupid.
My older sister.
My older sister, yeah.
Good. Great. No, just checking.
Yep. And, like, he brushes it off quite easily and quickly and just says, okay, fine, like, let's go have breakfast. Mm-hmm. And we sort of, I don't know if did you mention earlier that, like, what their plan is?
Well,
I don't remember if it gets mentioned before now or if now is
explained.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if the book explained it before this or if this is the explanation right now.
Oh, well, they just say that they're going to try to find allies tomorrow.
Okay, so...
But that's it.
Okay, so Sugarplum has sent out some letters and managed to convince, I guess, a few of his acquaintances to show up at a nearby tavern. So the prince, Louisa, and Sugarplum are gonna go to the tavern to meet up with these guys. Sugarplum is obviously going because they're his acquaintances. The prince is going because I'm assuming he needs to go.
Yeah.
And Louisa is going to be his blood source. So she's a blood bag.
Yeah, I did. While I was reading this, at one point I was like, why the fuck is she going? Like, why can't she stay at the house too? He could have really fed. I know it's not feeding, but it kind of is. But he could have fed before he left then been fine.
Yeah. But they don't.
I was like, this seems odd, but okay.
They don't think of that.
No.
So, so the plan is for the three of them to go, and Clara is going to stay behind and paint Sugarplum's painting because he really needs it.
Yeah. Well, he did say that she had to do it before.
Yes, it's part of the bargain.
But it's still like, this is really the most important thing in the world right now.
Yeah.
Sure.
Anyway, so Louisa, doesn't like leaving Clara in the house alone.
Which is actually wild that they just are like, she'll be fine on her own. Nobody else at all around.
Well, I guess that's the thing. So Sugarplum's like, I've spelled my house. It's completely safe.
Next week begs to differ.
Yes. However, they don't know that.
But okay. Fine.
So they leave and they start walking, and Louisa and Sugarplum get on famously, and they talk about the lore of the fairyland and all this stuff. And she's super chilly, so he used his magic to enhance her outfit because he magicked her entire outfit. Mm-hmm. And it makes her warmer, and that gets them on the topic of magical strength. And the only reason I'm even bringing this up is because Sugarplum drops here that, Lear is super strong because he's the crown prince of fairy. Mm-hmm. And that's name dropping his real name. After he'd said, I'm not giving my real name to human that I barely know. And here Sugarplum is just name dropping him all over the place.
Wild.
So we hear I understand that it's just a name, but this is non-consensual.
Yeah, and it's also a huge thing in lore, as well as seems like in this book they make it out like it's a huge thing.
Yeah. I was like yeah, I
really didn't like this.
I really feel bad for the prince. He's literally getting he's getting violated in a lot of different ways.
Yeah. Sure, he's wooden and not the nicest person. But this is intense.
Yeah.
So I didn't enjoy it. I was just like, why did we have to do it this way?
Yeah.
I would have rathered if even if they waited till the end of the book,
yes,
or whenever this whole enemies to whatever, or reluctant whatever, or hate to whatever, it should mean something when she hears his name, and it should be from him.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate. So he just sort of doubles down because the prince is like, I heard you drop my name 4 times now. And
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and he's like, I'm just going to own it. And reaffirms, yes, the prince's name is Lyranon. And then Lear / Lyranon retorts and calls Sugarplum by his name, which is Phineas. Or Finn.
Yeah. Which I guess Louisa didn't know, but Clara knew.
Yes.
So, but Clara would have definitely told her.
Well,
even though that's also.
But would she have though? Knowing how sacred it is. I don't think Clara's a snitch.
Yeah. I guess. I just couldn't remember if she had already told him, but anyway.
Right.
But if she didn't, then, like, now, yeah, completely fair to be like, his name is this.
Yeah. And, like, apparently, as we've sort of alluded to, that it's really rude for a fairy to tell a human another fairy's name without permission, because I'm assuming they could take advantage and stuff like that.
Well, yeah, we've read a million books about true names. Like, it comes up in Quicksilver, it comes up in Phantasma, like the devil's true name or the demon, whatever. Like, it comes up in just lore and shit in general.
Yeah.
So, like, I just thought that this would mean more. Kind of like the food and drink would mean more.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah, I agree. I think it should be. The fact that they mentioned it a couple times and then they just dropped it here is just, it was a choice.
Yeah.
So Phineas, like, I guess the conversation moves on, and Phineas complains about the speed that humans travel. And he's like, if only we could travel at the speed of Fae, we'd be gone so quick. And then he's like darts away to prove his point. And like, he's like, bye, and zips away.
Zoots. I like that.
And that leaves, obviously, Lear and Louisa alone together.
Ooh.
Yeah, well, she tries. She's like, she says, I want to apologize for last night. Maybe I was a little bit insensitive and I wasn't very compassionate to your situation. Referring to last night when she essentially dropped her towel and was like, have sex with me. And he was like, no.
Yeah.
He was like, I've been tortured, I've been cursed, I've been shrunk, I'm not in the mood. Mm-hmm. And he obviously doesn't think that this apology was good enough, because she didn't actually say, I'm sorry. She said, no, I need to apologize for last night. But, like, she didn't apologize. She just said, I need to.
Yeah.
So, because he doesn't think it's good enough, they start to argue. And it turns into this big fight about, like, prejudices. And how he hasn't spent any time around humans, yet he acts like he knows everything about them. But all he knows are sort of like the prejudices and that sort of thing. And he just says to her, like, it's the same with you and the Fae. Like, you also have preconceived notions about who they are.
But also, he's had way more experiences with mortals than she has with Fae.
Yes.
One took him, and as we've said multiple times now, kidnapped him, tortured him, turned him into a nutcracker. Like, I think he has some idea.
Yeah. And he even adds in, he's like, you didn't know anything about Fae. Like, you thought we couldn't lie. Essentially, how dumb are you?
I would assume that, too.
And then he also argues, he was like, all the stuff that, like, you attribute to the Fae is actually the unseelie. Like, kidnapping people and bringing people into their, like, underground lair and stuff like that. That's all the unseelie. That's not the Seelie court. Mm-hmm. And she's like... And he's like, it's the unseelies that are terrible. And she's like, well, they can't all be terrible because your cousin is friends with some of them. So, like, they can't all be bad. And she's trying to teach him, like, don't tarnish everyone with the same brush sort of a thing. Mm-hmm. But, like, he already knew that because he's arguing with that. He's arguing that for the Seelies. Like, he doesn't want her and humans to think of the Seelies in a negative way.
Yeah, but he is saying that all the unseelies, like, he's kind of saying both things.
Yeah. So, they're still arguing, and then Phineas comes back, and he has snacks with him, which is kind.
Love it.
And they throw a few more, like, insults or barbs at each other's way, and Louisa points out, like, you should be grateful to me. I saved you a couple of times. And then he makes this, like, long-winded fake apology. It's really insincere. And then she sort of makes it a joke to cut the tension, and he sort of cracks a smile almost, and it's just a moment.
Yeah, finally.
So, they get to the tavern, and Phineas asks Lear to keep his identity hidden for the time being, because while these guys are potential allies, they aren't friends. Mm-hmm. So, like, you don't want to reveal everything.
Yeah.
So, Phineas also tells Louisa that it will take them 2 weeks to get to the unending pool if they have to walk by human means. Which means that, obviously, I don't understand, her and Clara will have to go with them. Why does Clara have to go?
Yeah, I was wondering that. I guess a spare?
Maybe.
Don't know.
But yeah, so they have to go and give... They have to go so that the prince can have blood every so often. And I'm just like, also, if they can travel so quickly without the humans, why can they not travel for the however many hours it takes to get there without the same idea that you had earlier about the tavern? Why can't we do this with this instance?
Also, why can't we just carry a nutcracker? Like, I know it sucks. I know. But for speed and shit, just take him as a nutcracker.
Yeah, and then...
He's smaller. He's tiny, compact. Fit him in a backpack.
And then Phineas could really fly there.
Yeah.
And be there in like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
That's a good point. So, they're in this forest, and Louisa hears like a heartbeat. And the guys tell her that it's the trees. The trees are dryads. They have like dryads in their inside of them. And Phineas ends up telling like some explicit stories about sex and dryads and how they wake up once every 50 years to like party. And he's been in it. And he mentioned something about the dryads having 2 vaginas. And, like, Louisa is fascinated by it. She's like, does this mean they can have double the orgasms? And he's like, yes, it does. Obviously, Lear is annoyed about this conversation. He's a prude.
Yeah, I also think he's jealous.
But he doesn't want to be into her at all.
Yeah, he's acting real like... I can't imagine he doesn't know his cousin's like this all the time anyway.
Yeah.
I think he dislikes that he's talking about it with her. I think it's more than just... There's just something else to it. It's both.
Yeah, it's just annoying to me.
Yeah.
So, Lear is, like, gone by himself, but, like, Finn is a nice guy. I think he should just get both sisters.
Yeah, fair.
He could keep up with Louisa. So they show up at the tavern, and Finn glamours Louisa's scent and her ears to make her appear fey. And apparently he took care of... So, like, he does the ears now. Apparently he said he did the scent earlier. Because apparently humans smell more carnal. And she's like, so I smell like food? Like, awesome. And then Lear pops in and he's like, no, you smell like food and sex together. And also more. And that makes...
Mr. Prude coming in with, you smell like sex.
Yeah. But then Finn sort of looks at him weird on the and more thing. And I'm like, oh, I'm thinking mate.
Oh, yeah. Of course.
I don't want it to be so, but I'm thinking it is, because why else would you say you smell like food and sex and more?
Yeah.
And why would anybody be shocked at the and more part?
Yeah.
So they head inside, and Finn gives out candies to a few of the people that met them there. One guy's name is Acorn, and he asks why they're there. A little argument, like, breaks out amongst the group about, like, whether they should allow unseelie people into the tavern and stuff like that. It's not super important. But then Phineas uses his skills and tells them that, like, they need to restore balance to the kingdom. He's like, I'm a neutral party. However, he's like, we need to restore balance, and that means we have to help the prince get back on the throne. Mm-hmm. And they're all like, oh, the prince, like, what the fuck does he need our help with?
Yeah. Everyone kind of thought he was dead or just disappeared.
Or that he ran away or something.
Yeah.
And he tells them that no, the prince is alive, but that he was stolen and cursed by Drosselmeyer. And they need to get him to the unending pool. And they are all gaspy.
Yes.
Yes. It's like one of those dun dun dun. So mentioning Drosselmeyer sort of had the whole tavern like up in arms, and scared. So like they really hate Drosselmeyer like almost more than they hate like the Rat King and whatever.
Yeah, there's gotta be more to it. To that side of it. Maybe that'll be in a different book.
Maybe.
Like, why he hates them so much. Like, did he have a girlfriend and she left him for the Fae?
Oh, I don't know. That's a good question, actually.
Because he hates them.
He does hate them. But we don't find anything else out. So, after mentioning Drosselmeyer, Lear actually steps forward and tells them that he needs their help. And, like, Phineas sort of adds in, he's gonna pay you too, like, to remind them about the money. Because these are essentially mercenaries, so, like, you gotta give them something.
Yeah.
So, they all start talking about, like, how they're gonna, the best way to get to the pool. And Lear starts to sort of go wooden, so he, like, squeezes Louisa's knee. And she notices that the color of his skin is slightly more of a wooden texture. So she's like, well, fuck, we don't want them to know what his curse is. So she's like, oh, the prince needs to talk to the cook about her meal, like, or something like that.
Yeah.
So she pulls him, like, out the room, down the hallway, and, like, into a little, like, storage room. And he doesn't want to drink her blood again, which is super telling.
Yeah.
And she's thinking to herself that her cut that was on her boob earlier, that is gone from the healing bath, so she can't use that to cut herself, or she can't use that to feed him, or whatever. So, like, of course, she has no time to recut herself, because it wouldn't take a split second.
Yeah.
So, she just bites her lip super, super hard instead, until it's bleeding, and then she kisses him. And I'm like, any excuse for a kiss.
Also, ow.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to do that.
Yeah, not my jam.
No.
So, it's also, like, just another moment of, like, non-consensual relations. Because, like,
yeah.
she is kissing him.
She didn't need to.
No. Like, you literally could have cut yourself as easy as you biting your own lip.
Yeah.
So, she's kissing him. He sucks on her lip. She does know that he hates it, but like, when he lets go, he tells her he needs more. So, according to this book, apparently he doesn't mind that much. So he says, like, he needs more, so she then bares her neck for him and tells him to bite her. And I'm like, why couldn't we do that from the beginning? What was with the kissing bit? If he has, because she's like, I know you have sharp teeth, I know you could do it. And it's like, okay, why didn't you do it then?
Yeah.
So she just is like, I know you have sharp teeth, just do it. So he does. And he doesn't really touch her at first, but eventually he does, like, put his arms around her, and he comments on how good she smells. So again, like, come on.
Yeah.
So she can feel his erection up against her. So she puts her hand down his pants.
Mm-hmm.
And I really hate it.
Yeah.
Because, like, that's non-consensual touching.
Yeah. He's kind of distracted by drinking her blood and trying not to become wooden. Which is kind of a pun in the worst time.
Anyway, so this also really, really grosses me out because she says to him, there's still wood here, referencing his penis. And then she says, I think I could make you come in your pants, Prince. And I'm like, how cocky are you?
Yep.
So she takes his penis then out of his pants, and he hasn't said anything. And then she talks to it. And I'm like, it's not going to answer you.
I hope.
Yeah. Well, yes, we hope. And she tells it that it's nice and that it should come out to play more often.
Yeah.
And then she tells him that her clit is tingly and her pussy is so wet she wants to, like, suck him in. And I hate all of it. And I think it's so gross. Like, no thank you. Don't say those things to me.
Yeah.
And then something, like, snaps him out of it. So he, like, sort of pushes her off of him and calls her a filthy human whore. And essentially says he only sleeps with people he cares about, and she will never be one of those people.
Yeah.
And, like, I know that this character is probably going to get a lot of hate for calling her a slut. And also pushing her, and also just not being kind. But
she just sexually assaulted him.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, it is. He's obviously lashing out, but he's not. Yeah, it's bad on both sides, and maybe that's the point. Like, it's just a toxic relationship between them. Maybe it's toxic to lovers, because it's not great right now.
No. So after that, we move on to Clara's point of view. Thank God, some sanity. So she is still painting when she hears the others come home. So we miss sort of the tail end of that meeting. And she asks them, like, they all want to, like, come in and look at the painting. And she's like, no, it's not done. And she also is like, I need to work. Go away. But Finn is sort of hovering and being a mother hen and is wondering, like if she ate anything and, like, if she took care of herself. He's just trying to be very nurturing.
Yeah.
But she's like, I'm fine right now. I just want to finish this. Can you get out, please? So he does, but he leaves Louisa there, and she doesn't mind that Louisa is there. And Louisa tells her that they got the 5 mercenaries they needed. But then she's like, I wasn't able to seduce the Nutcracker. And I'm like, okay, like, just right off the hop?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't get it. So she also tells Clara about what Lear said to her about calling her a slut, and Clara does originally be like, want me to beat him up? Meh meh. But she says, no, like, people have been calling me a slut for years before that, and it means nothing to me anymore as a word.
Yeah.
But she says, like, she wants him so bad. And she says it like, physically hurts. She wants him so bad. And when he calls her names, like, it hurts more because she wants him. I don't like that.
Yeah.
Like, anyway, she says that she knows his body wants her because it responds. Yeah. But his mind doesn't. And she's never been rejected like this over and over. And I'm like, oh my dear sweet God. Like, that's ridiculous.
That's not, but that's not consent. Someone's body wanting you doesn't matter.
No.
Not consent.
So, like, the fact that she is sexually assaulting him repeatedly during this movie makes me sort of, like, have the ick.
Yeah, this book. You said movie.
What?
You said movie.
Shit. Sorry. I'm back in our conversation earlier where we were talking about movies.
I know. It's just kind of funny.
Yeah. God. Doesn't help, too, that I'm still having that Don Bluth movie of the Nutcracker in my head from 1990. So, Louisa, like, sort of leaves Clara to her painting, and she reflects on her feelings. There's, like, 2 whole pages where she talks about how she doesn't want to fall in love with Phineas, but, like, she is.
It's hard and fast, guys.
Yeah. So she said, like, she hopes he likes the painting because he said he wanted her to paint something she thought he should see.
Yeah. Doesn't in that time when Louisa's there, doesn't she just say something offhand about how, like, Phineas is also a piece of shit or something?
Not.
I can't remember exactly what she says, but she says something to, like, dim Clara's
success,
hope, or success. Yeah. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it comes up again next week.
I don't remember.
But yeah, just want to point out that Louisa feels bad about something, i.e. the prince not wanting her, and then she's like, gotta make Clara feel bad too.
Oh my God, I hate that.
Yeah. It seems like it might be a pattern.
So, she is, like, she thinks that, like, the painting she made is really raw and emotional, and she's feeling insecure compared to, like, his normal sexual experiences.
Yes. Louisa just told her that Finn was talking about
orgies and stuff.
All the different sexcapades that he's been on. Yeah. And that made her feel bad. Yeah, sorry. We would have got there.
You got it. So, she just paints for a few more hours. Louisa's left her alone. And when she comes up, when she's, like, thinks she's done, Phineas is watching her. And, like, God knows how long he's been there. So he's like, can I see it? So she gives it to him, and it's just a self-portrait. It's herself. Yeah. So, like, girl, you got game.
Well, I was like, oh yeah, you should feel worried, because what if he doesn't? Like, this is so vulnerable.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be me.
No. So she just paints herself as she saw herself last night when he was making her come in a mirror. But it's just her face and shoulders. There's no body. Maybe it could be
okay.
Yeah, maybe it could be a series.
Sorry, I think I missed that. I think I missed that
did you?
part because I was like, is she just fully naked? I must have just read it quickly or something.
Yeah.
But I thought that she was fully on display.
Yeah, no, I do think it's just her head and shoulders.
Knees and toes? Sorry. Sorry.
So he doesn't say anything, and that, like, because he's so shocked, but she's like, oh my god, he doesn't like it. But he's like, no, I do like it. Like, it's really good. Mm-hmm. And he tells her that they're just talking about something, and he just talks about how he wants to chase her in the woods, which, okay.
A bit left field.
And then he says he also wants to chase her, catch her, and lick her all over.
Fair enough.
And then Clara asks, like, why her? Because he's had so many lovers. Like, what makes him think that she shouldn't be one that he wants? Mm-hmm. And that sort of pisses him off, because he's like, yeah, I had sex with a lot of people. If that bothers you, then we don't have to do anything. But she's like, no, I obviously, like, don't mean it that way. But, like, just, I don't understand why I'm special, sort of a conversation.
Yeah, he first took it as, like, she didn't want him.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, I don't know why you want me.
Yes. So he then sort of opens up to her a bit and tells her that at parties, everyone wants him because of his fun-flavored cum.
That's a sentence. I like it. I like it as a sentence.
And he just says, like, for everyone else, he's a novelty. Like, they don't really want the real him. They just want it gone. Thank you. So, anyway, so he's sort of like the novelty. Everyone, and he talks about how, like, people used to, like, pleasure him so much just for his cum. And I'm like, wow, that is extreme.
Yeah.
But it caused him to decide he was going to start picking better partners and, like, being more selective with his partners. Because he finds that nowadays he needs to, like, connect first before he can just go out and have an orgy.
Yeah.
And she's like, okay, so why me? And he says that, like, she intrigues him, essentially. And there's something else there.
Is it a mate bond?
Ugh, another one? That would be ridiculous.
Is it her smell? Is it just, like, the first Seelie that sees you when you're immortal gets attached to you?
Oh.
Because, like, the Nutcracker woke up and saw
Louisa.
And then he found her in the woods.
Yeah.
So, like, that could be a
Unless
thing.
there's wild fairy magic that just leads you together.
Oh, could be.
So she sways into him and, like, sort of wants him to take another step. But he doesn't want to do anything until she's taking care of herself a little bit. So he wants her to eat, he wants her to drink, and also pee.
Yeah.
So, like...
Which... I can't blame this book because they've got it in it.
I know, and there's a lot of pee talk. Because, like, he then takes her to the bathroom, and he's like, how many times did you use the bathroom today? And she's like, once. He's like, you better, like, get your stuff on. Like, you better, like, go sit down and pee, because if you don't, I'm gonna watch. And I'm just like...
Yeah.
What? I'm like...
I think he's into it.
And he's like, I'll stand down the hall. And she's like, good, I don't want you to hear me pee. And then afterwards, he's like, I heard you pee.
He is.
Like, that's literally a scene in the book.
Yeah.
Anyway, then he takes her for dinner, like, just to the kitchen. And he makes her sit on his lap. And she, like, is grinding into him as she eats her dinner. And every time she takes a bite of food... he wants her to, like, stand up a bit before he sits back down. And during one of those times where she's sort of, like, slightly standing up and then coming back down, he actually got rid of her panties. So, like, she was going bare. And then he also got rid of his own pants so that he was bare. So they were just rubbing parts.
Yep.
But then he tells her that she isn't allowed to come yet, and he just wants her to keep eating. So she is still eating. I'm like, for something like I say strenuous in a loose term. But like, I don't know.
Strenuous like sex or strenuous like painting and not eating?
No, the strenuous sex part. I don't know. Wouldn't want to eat till I was full. I think he's being a little bit hard on her with the eating thing.
Yeah.
Like, you know how when you like work out or something and you ate too much, you feel like garbage.
Yeah. I get what you're saying.
Feels the same. I don't know why he's so pressing. He's pressing her so much to eat.
Yeah.
So he just makes her keep eating, and then he also makes her like sort of get up a little bit whenever she's getting something to eat or having a bite of something, and then she has to like sit back down. So like there's penetration. He magics her dress away so she's naked. He asked her like what she would touch herself, like what she would think of, which is interesting.
Well, yeah, because she only said it in her head that she used to think of, like, crazy things that she couldn't even tell her sister about. Yeah. So, like, but he knows for some reason.
Yeah, it's weird. So, she doesn't tell him what she thinks of, but she does say, like, please, I need to come. So, like, he does let her do that. And that obviously also makes him come.
Of course.
Why not?
Always.
So after he has come, he like dips his finger in the cum that is leaking down her leg and asks if she wants to taste it. And she's like, okay. So she tastes it. And it tastes like vanilla with cinnamon and brandy. Which sounds terrible.
I think I'd like it.
Ugh.
If it was a drink. Not the cum. I think if it was an alcoholic drink of brandy with some vanilla and cinnamon in it, I think I would like that.
Ugh, I don't like brandy.
Oh, I do.
Well, I actually don't really know. I'm assuming I don't like brandy. I'm not crazy about the hard liquors.
Yeah, that's fair.
So she tasted once and was like, oh, delicious. So then he goes to do it again. But then they hear this like crash that comes all the way like through the house. We don't know what it is.
No. And we won't know until next week.
Correct.
Because that's the end of her.
That's true.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I guess we'll just wrap it up for this week. If you want to get in touch with us and share your thoughts on anything you heard in our episodes, or if you have any book suggestions, you can reach out to us by email at coffeeandcoread@gmail.com or on Instagram or Facebook at coffeeandcoread and coffee.coread on TikTok.
So next week we will be reading A Court of Sugar and Spice, chapters 14 to 22. So make sure to follow along, and if you're enjoying our chats, don't forget to follow, rate, and review wherever you get our content. Thanks for listening, everyone, and we'll see you on the next page.